Welcome to the Own Your Best Life podcast. I'm May Emson, your host, leadership and mindset coach. Here, we talk all things spiritual, mindset, business, leadership, and wellness for the modern seeker who wants to align their life with purpose and inspiration. We'll cover career changes, stress management, meditation, energy, intuition, and more. Each episode holds spiritual and practical tools to help you live a life of your wildest dreams without getting burnt out along the way. Ready to live a life on your own terms? This is the Own Your Best Life podcast. Welcome, friends, to episode number 122 of the Own Your Best Life podcast. So if you've ever had an idea or desire or ambition and you thought to yourself, but is this even possible? Is this real? Is this a real thing that people do? You know that self-doubt often keeps you second-guessing yourself. You know that perhaps you can play a little bit bigger or more bolder in your life, but you don't do it and you don't even look into how to do it. And when that level of safety seems to pervade and the worry about what others will think about what you're doing is bigger than your belief, you stay in what's safe, even if it's not where your growth resides. So today's podcast is a story about making things real. I think you'll resonate with my story of how I became more bold as an energy practitioner and a spiritual teacher, both things I didn't think were real, or at least not real for me. So let's dive in. I never considered myself a healer. There were always this sense and a feeling across many aspects of my life where I was just looking in from the outside. All these other people did things that were bold, not me. Bold to me meant jobs and work that weren't deemed prestigious by my circle and my culture. This included education, the kind of education you had, how much money you made, or the ability to talk about what your kids did to other parents with a sense of pride. So I did all of those things that really interested me on the periphery. For fun only, never for a living, never to be paid, never in public where many people could see. Yet things have changed for me over the years as a direct result of coaching. Coaching helped me start to not only explore what it is that I wanted to experience in this lifetime, but also how to make things real, how to take the intangible and make it tangible, how to get paid for the gifts that you have, how to incorporate the things that you thought only other people did into your daily life, and how to answer the questions I had in my own head about spirituality, humans, and why things are a certain way, so that I could help others who had the same nature of seeking. And this is why you're here today. So when I thought about healing, it seemed that this healing stuff wasn't real. I started my exploration in the world beyond the sight, sound, smell, touch, the senses, right, with a curiosity to answer that question, what if? What if it was real, this whole world of energy? But what if I didn't investigate it? What if it was a real sensory experience, not just something made up? But I just didn't understand it well enough to see it. And what if it was within our grasp, but we didn't know it was for us to practice? So we can live our lives as if we need the answers to be proven and validated before we arrive, or we can be the ones that are part of leading ourselves and others toward a new path forward. And the world is made up of both parts, equally valid and important. And one of the things I realized when I stopped listening so much to what others were saying or thinking was that I actually knew the answers to the direct questions at hand. I knew, even if I wasn't certain. I picked up clues that were left behind in the way that someone spoke to me, in the way they presented themselves energetically. But it wasn't always the case. So I started asking myself why that was. And I realized that when I'm not open to receiving information, I don't. When I'm distracted by the day-to-day doing, I don't notice what's actually being presented. This is why I love moments of stillness. They allow me to follow that string of curiosity down that rabbit hole. And I can start to see a train of thought in my mind's eye often. And it looks like dots. It looks like a storyline with a beginning and an ending, but no middle, or with the middle, but no end. And what I realize is when I don't follow those dots and I don't fully understand the train of thought, I don't reach a level of certainty that allows me to own an idea. I don't take action, not because it's not possible, but simply because I don't understand fully. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is that I've often found it helpful to hear how other people were thinking about the things that they were doing that felt was kind of on the edge for them. So I'm sharing a little bit about the way I was thinking and processing this world of energy work or even spirituality that felt to me something that was a little bit not okay to talk about or wouldn't be as accepted by everyone around me. And so I started to think about this idea of understanding something, that whatever keeps us from answering our own questions keeps us from understanding. So what is understanding if not answering your own questions? To stand under something, to support it fully. This is understanding to me. So I followed my curiosity. I began working with energy, intuition. Meditation was my first practice that I started when I was 8 years old. Then yoga came into play, the Akashic Records, Reiki, chakra healing, and then most recently, pranic healing. I'm going to share a little bit about a story of pranic healing that happened very recently that shows you what it looks like when you make things real. So the first time I practiced pranic healing in a hospital setting was a weekend ago in London. Pranic healing is a form of energy healing. And a dear friend of mine had some complications en route to a weekend wedding in London, in flight, essentially. Had to go straight to the hospital from the airport. I went to meet her at the A&E, they call it, accident and emergency. In the US, they call it the ER, emergency room. And instead of attending the wedding, we attended to her health, and I performed pranic healing. This was exactly the scenario. I remember thinking in my head, okay, it's a great place to practice it if you're in a hospital setting, for example. So I performed it for about 20 minutes at a time, and I did it a few times in the A&E/ER over the course of the day, right? Several hours that we were in there for. And I was aware that I was doing the sweeping and my hand motions might look a little strange to the passerby or anyone walking through or seeing what's going on in this section. But this was something important that I realized. The needs of the moment will often dictate that we look past our own thoughts of this is strange, quote unquote, and instead realize we are withholding. I want you to think about that. That the thing you want to do, if you don't express it, you are somehow withholding. It's as if someone needed this help and this energy healing and was suffering in great pain and not doing and feeling well, and you decided to keep it to yourself. It feels selfish. And that gets you past that point of this looks strange or this is weird and I must do it, I need to do it, I need to at least try. And it really aligns with the type of work I do. And one of the practices that I learned when I perform energy work is that it is not for me to withhold. If someone has provided permission and I have agreed to do this, this work is for someone else. And by not allowing what I see, what I hear, and I visualize to come through, to say everything, to hear everything, to express it all, I'm not fulfilling my intention to help, to love even, or to serve, right? To have some kind of impact. So I let my thinking brain just stay where it was, making all these judgments about what this looked like to other people. And I used my hands, and I was sweeping, I was clearing, I was connecting, I was energizing, and I did it over and over and over again. And she relaxed. The pain started subsiding, and it started to recede, right? Some of the things that were happening. And we kept monitoring, and it was several hours later when a nurse came up to me and asked me what I was doing. And before I could answer, he asked, "Are you doing pranic healing or Reiki?" And I will tell you that I've never talked to people about pranic healing before. There's not a lot of people that in my world do this work or have heard it. And I would imagine for many of you, this might even be the first time you're hearing those words. So I'm a little surprised that this person happened to even know these terms. Reiki is much more common. And again, before I could answer, right, when he asked that question, he just said, "It looks like you're doing pranic healing." And then he went into telling me how he had practiced it. He found pranic healing so helpful for other people he had worked with. He started talking to me about all like meditation and Reiki and all these resources. And he started writing down on his hand with a pen as we discussed books and their authors. He was trying to capture the names. And this is in a hospital in London. In my mind, it's a little random. Maybe you're thinking, okay, that is too. But really the point is that the connection was made. And in my mind, that made this confirmation for me that this was real. But that was in my own mind. It was already real. It was real the minute it entered into my mind. When I say it, I mean the idea of exploring and doing energy work. And it became even more real when I expressed it through my voice, my intention to help, and the actions. And we are the ones that make things real. Why do we suddenly start to study, for example, the effects of meditation, and we start doing all these studies? Is because we first have to believe that this is real, and then we go prove out that hypothesis. We have to start somewhere. And when you are leading ahead of others in a space, you will not have the evidence of whatever you might have in the past, because this is something different and new. So we are the ones that make things real by starting and moving forward and say, yes, I want to investigate this. And now they found so many benefits to mindfulness, to meditation, right? There's been so many studies and research that shows what the effects are and what's actually happening in your brain. So science will follow, right? These things that we want to prove out and understand. So within all of this, this nurse was re-inspired to pick his energy work back up. I think just seeing it for him sparked something in him. And I had all these thoughts, of course, of why he was totally needed in this way, how he could integrate his work with the energy work, how there were places for him to do this. And so the world responds when we let go and we step into the unknown. The more we don't know for sure, yet we move forward to create some kind of certainty for ourselves, the more we are leading. So I am a healer as much as you are a healer. We are all more powerful than we believe, not because we supersede science or medicine or anything like that, or other people, the context we have in our lives of needing to pay bills or be able to provide for our families and for ourselves. We don't supersede. Our power lies in working with the things as they are with a sense of willingness. And your willingness to open your heart and your mind to new and different perspectives is what makes that thing and that perspective real. It will start first with yourself, your own belief, and then that belief will move to others. We all know that energy is contagious. So don't give up, my friends, on the things that spark your curiosity. Don't give up on the questions you have. Don't think that because you're not certain yet, you won't get there. So if you are curious about how spirituality intersects with the workplace, how energy is affecting all of the different things that you're thinking and doing, and the way that you're acting in your work and in your life, reach out for a coaching consultation today. That's it for this week, my friends. Have an amazing one, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks so much for joining us this week on Own Your Best Life. Make sure to subscribe to the show on iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts so that you'll never miss a show. And while you're at it, can you please rate and review on iTunes? I would so appreciate it. Share it with a friend, take a screenshot of it, and tag @MayEmson. This helps continue to get the word out. For more show notes and resources, check out www.mayemson.com. It'll have all the links to everything you heard here today. Thanks so much for listening. It's time to own your best life.